ECSI fans, do you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sportsbooks and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app. Hey sports fans, are you ready for an exhilarating gaming experience? Introducing VIPClub.lv, your ultimate online sportsbook and casino. VIPClub.lv offers a vast selection of sports, from football and basketball to tennis and baseball. Bet on your favorite teams and enjoy the thrill of the game. But that's not all. Our state-of-the-art online casino offers a dazzling array of games, including slots, blackjack, roulette, and live dealer tables. Win big with their fantastic promotions, rewards, and exclusive offers. Join VIPClub.lv today and get a generous 100% match welcome bonus to start your winning streak. Make sure to use code ECSI at sign-up. Bet it, win it, and cash it at VIPClub.lv. Visit VIPClub.lv now and play responsibly. VIPClub.lv, your sportsbook and casino extravaganza. Must be 21 or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Visit gambleware.org for help. From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the closing bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the closing bell.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. This is East Coast Sports Investors Closing Bell for Wednesday, January 10th. I put that wrong in the description of the damn show as my producing duties over here for this fine afternoon. It is not January 11th. It is January 10th. Don't think I can go back and change that, so I apologize. We're living in a weird, bizarre world where it's Wednesday, January 11th instead of Wednesday, January 10th. But I digress. Was potentially going to be jaw-dropped as I entered this show, and I essentially am. Because obviously, rocking solo today for the closing bell here to get you ready for everything. For the most part of the basketball world tonight, college basketball, NBA, a couple of decent slates on both of them. But obviously, we've had plenty of things to talk about in the world of NFL coaching carousel. But if anyone is following along on Twitter, probably also saw the bombshell news that obviously at some point within the next now to 5-10 years, I don't know, this was inevitable to happen. But if you haven't heard, let me be the first to tell you the breaking news in the college football world. 2 days removed from the college football national championship, Mr. Alabama head coach Nick Saban is retiring, is the official report that we are seeing all over ESPN. I believe everywhere on ESPN and everywhere else. The man that has won 6 national titles and has obviously had Alabama close to it. Per his words, this year was one of his favorite coaching jobs that he's ever had. So not quite the same as the average not going out on top in his idea. He had a fantastic season, which I would agree with from what they were earlier on in the season. But nonetheless, the Alabama Crimson Tide obviously going to be looking for his replacement, whether that's in the building or not. Obviously to be seen, but the college football world is losing in the form of retirement, arguably the greatest college football coach of all time, in Nick Saban, who maybe had this NIL era not come around. You're not saying that's the exact reason why he hasn't been as fantastic as he was for this past decade, but maybe he's not trying to deal with that anymore. Maybe this would have happened regardless of what era we're living in now. So congrats to an unbelievable career. Have to imagine, don't want to assume, but have to imagine he's potentially going to go find his way to TV. He's obviously done a lot with ESPN the last handful of seasons. Maybe he rides off to the sunset and we barely see him again these next couple of decades here as he gets older. Who knows? He can do whatever the hell he wants. Hopefully he's close to football, and hopefully he opens up his mind a little bit more, and we get to hear from him a lot more and pick his brain a little bit anytime if he graces the television there. So had probably fitting that we start the show off like that. As for yesterday, didn't have wasn't on the show. Was in the middle of a not as bad as it was built up to be, but a bad winter storm. Basically had my internet touch and go all day long, so I was not able to come on the show yesterday with Jeff. I know he did a couple of shows yesterday. Outside of that, in the NFL coaching carousel, or the soon-to-be carousel, we've got the Pete Carroll news. Not fired, stepped down. He's going to continue to remain an advisor to the team. Interesting move there. Obviously, the initial report or initial name that I saw that had been with him as defensive coordinator in the past would be Dan Quinn, potentially coming over. I think that one would make a lot of sense, obviously, with his previous ties to the organization and to what the type of culture they want to create or continue to sustain, whatever you want to call it. What else? Bears fire a lot of their offensive coaching staff, so that is obviously a huge necessity for them. They keep Eberflus, don't keep their offensive coordinator. The opinion that I've seen from Bears fans is, they're happy with what Eberflus did at the end of the season with his defense, but unless you truly believe in Eberflus, which you might, if this doesn't go well next year and they don't win more than 7-8 games, he's probably going to be on his way out again next year. So why would an offensive coordinator, unless they truly believe in Eberflus and what's going on, obviously Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, whoever it might be at quarterback is a big factor, but why would an offensive coordinator, a respected offensive coordinator, want to potentially go to a situation where that head coach is going to be gone, potentially costing his own job as offensive coordinator, yada, yada, yada. Maybe that's decent fodder for an offensive coordinator to want to take a job and maybe be a head coach. Who knows? But that was the other news for sure today. Obviously, yesterday, Mike Vrabel gets the axe. Kind of shocking, in my opinion, from that regard. And the Tennessee Titans appear to be headed for a rough patch, and it seemed, and I would say they're headed for a rough patch because they seem to be making these moves as if they think they're playing some type of 3D chess against the rest of the league, which seems to be the exact opposite. They've been in a steady decline for the past 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, whatever it is now. Not because of Mike Vrabel. He's doing whatever he can with a steadily declining roster. So I think he's going to be employed pretty quickly. He's obviously the Patriots, if they decide to go a different way with Belichick, obviously going to be a quick name to be in that circle there. Could be interested in Seattle from that type of job as well. And I think all of these teams that are open right now. I think there's 7 officially open right now, and then obviously there's the Patriots who could decide something to do with Belichick. Steelers are in the playoffs. Who knows? I don't think they're going to move on from Tomlin. That would be the other job potentially there, but I don't think that's going to happen. Could eat my words there. But anyways, that is it for the most part as far as the updates in the coaching circles there. So it's going to be an interesting few weeks. You've obviously got a weird period where teams are trying to interview other guys, some that are in jobs currently, some that are easily readily available to go and interview and whatnot. So going to be an interesting few weeks. I bet we get the first domino here in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, we've got the Jim Harbaugh. Potentially, is he coming to the NFL? Which I know we here at this network believe that he is going to. But obviously, if he does, where's he going to go? Chicago was one that we thought that I thought was going to happen as well, and I'm glad that's not going to happen because I think he's a fantastic coach. Now, kind of not Washington, Chargers and Raiders, obviously the two off the top of the head that seem the most potentially likely if he wants to go to a little West Coast there. But anywho, we'll get there when we get there. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. I imagine we'll be talking a little bit more tomorrow and potentially even Friday about the upcoming NFL matchups. Nothing too crazy else going on there. So Without further ado, my friends, let's get on into it. Last night in the college basketball world, obviously had number 1 and number 2 go down. Purdue loses to Nebraska. Houston loses at Iowa State. Some that might say would be shocking. I would say the Purdue-Nebraska, I don't think shocking, but more surprising than the other one there. Houston-Iowa State, as good as Houston is, Iowa State is also really, really good this year. Was surprised on, in my opinion, that they weren't an AP top 25 team. That obviously is coming soon. Very good defensive team last year. Brings that over again this year, but now as bad as they were offensively last year, and there's a reason why they weren't really anything special last year, but aside from maybe a few good moments and whatnot, they've got at least a formidable offense for what their defense is there. So that's going to be a really tough out and a really, really serious dark horse contender in the Big 12 there, just because they can cause so many problems for so many teams there. And then I mentioned Purdue, Nebraska. Again, not surprising because Nebraska is really, really solid. A little more surprising, though, obviously, just not don't think quite as highly of Nebraska as I do that Iowa State team there. But Nebraska 3-2 in the conference, 13-3 overall in the Big 10. While the Big 10 doesn't have more than one, if not a couple teams that you would say you could see cutting down the nets in April. They probably only have one, maybe two teams. They've got a lot of teams that top to bottom are just really, really tough, and there's really not anywhere that you go in the Big Ten this year on the road that's going to be tough. That isn't going to be tough to play in. So it's a very deep. It's just there's not that many at the very, very tippy top of the college basketball landscape. So I think there's going to be a couple more upsets like that of Purdue and Wisconsin, Illinois, whatever. It sounds like I will be going to one of these Big Ten games on Saturday morning, Wisconsin and Northwestern. I know Northwestern plays tonight. We'll talk about that in a second, but excited to get out into a Big Ten atmosphere this Saturday, so I'll be posted and keeping you tuned for that one there. But as far as tonight, Wisconsin also plays tonight, so both those teams are in action tonight, actually. But outside of that, as far as tonight's games are concerned in college basketball, there are some good ones here. I got some that maybe buyer beware on a couple of these favorites here, highly ranked teams. Now, is there going to be some people who think you had the 1 and 2 team last night? Let's, ride on some underdogs potentially, but I don't think people are carrying that over too much here into tonight's big matchups, these top 25 matchups necessarily. You've got the first one that I'm looking at, the number 3 team that potentially could be the number 1 team if they're able to survive tonight. That's got a lot of public money on them. Kansas at UCF, Central Florida here in Orlando. 7.5 for a Kansas team that only has that one loss. Not a bad loss by any means. Just beat a TCU team at home, only by a couple of points as 9.5-point favorites, but they've had a lot of 13.5-point favorite spreads on the road. They've had a 7-point spread out of Indiana. Couldn't cover that one. 13.5 against Mizzou. Whereas Central Florida's coming off a 5-point dog spot at the other Kansas team, Kansas State, and they lose by 25 there. As I don't know if it's their first Big 12 matchup, but the obviously the most recent case and one of the only cases, if not the only one. Let's see, UCF. That's their only Big 12 game. So only Big 12 game that anyone has seen is them getting absolutely waxed by the other Kansas team, Kansas State, who solid team, nowhere near what Kansas is. So the thinking here is that this is an easy one for Kansas, and I'm telling you to beware of Kansas. Don't buyer beware on Kansas tonight. Not saying Central Florida gets the outright victory here. I'll stick with Kansas potentially winning this game. Wouldn't shock me if UCF won, but I'm kind of leaning towards UCF at least covering this game and keeping this one really close and giving Kansas a good run for their money. Like I said, it's 9-4. They've, they don't really have any bad losses necessarily. Miami is a loss. Stetson is the only one, and that one was back in November. So they're starting to play outside of that Kansas State game, playing better. But nonetheless, buyer beware on Kansas tonight. This one is a little head-scratchingly low. The other one, I would say one of these two is going to get upset. The other one maybe takes care of business. The other highly ranked team that is in action tonight that's got a little sketchy, a bit of a sketchy number here. Tennessee, number 5 Tennessee on the road in Mississippi State. 2.5-point favorites to a unranked Mississippi State team per AP. I believe per KenPom they are top 30, if I'm not mistaken here. So it's going to be a tough environment. I know Mississippi State's got another one they're looking ahead to But they shouldn't be overlooking this one because they obviously got a top 5 opponent coming in. You got Tennessee on a big roll. Just took care of Ole Miss at home as 11.5-point favorites. During this stretch, they got a nice win. I can't remember if it was down the road or a neutral site, but either way, nice 9-point win as 9.5-point favorites over NC State. And another one, we got Mississippi State. Last game that we saw from them on the road against South Carolina, and they can't win that one just a handful of days ago. So this one, again, another one that feels a little fishy to me, a little bit of a don't dive cannonball in the deep end for Tennessee here. I am interested in the Mississippi State team. So I'm I'll say I think one of those two that I've already mentioned here is potentially going to lose outright. Maybe one takes care of business, but buyer beware on Kansas and Central Florida tonight, my friends, is all I'm trying to tell you. A few top 10 teams in action here. The other one, UNC, NC State. I have to imagine UNC is a bit of a public side in this one as well as the another top 10 team against an unranked team. But I think some people are respecting NC State enough to having seen this rivalry before, and obviously NC State has been spoiler in many cases here in the ACC. A lot of nice top 25 victories over the years. They took down. I think they split last year. And now they've rattled off a few in a row. Got a nice win against Virginia over the weekend as 1.5-point favorites at home. Not only 3.5-point dogs. So it's another one that I'm kind of buyer beware on. But at the end of the day, I could see this one kind of being a toss-up. I do kind of think the spread is a little more fair. UNC has rattled a handful in a row, 4 in a row. A couple of them really nice wins there. So wouldn't shock me if NC State won this one, but I'll back off of this one. Not as strong of a buyer beware situation here, but same time, you got another top 10 team that's short favorites here against an NC State team that's currently unranked for the AP. They win this game, they're going to be a top 25 team if that's what you care about there. So another one, just buyer beware. Not as strong in thoughts as the other two, but buyer beware. Same situation here. Another one, UConn, my man Jeff's team that he gives it the best insights that I can find as far as UConn is concerned. They are on the road against Xavier. We've already seen the Big East be a very tough going back to the last few years. But, it rings true so far this year that the road in the Big East is not an easy trip to make no matter where you're going. And despite 7-7 Xavier's record of 7-7, they're better than what their record suggests. They've had a couple of early struggles. They've lost to some legit, Power 5 teams here. They lost to a Purdue team, lost to a couple of, like I said, lost to Houston. A couple of ugly ones on the schedule, but lately they've been figuring it out, getting things on track a little bit here. Only a 1-point loss a week ago at Villanova. So again, this one is one where you might just have an Xavier team that can't figure out how to win games. And that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. But another one where you've got the number 4 team in the country who's only had 2 stumbles. And it's Seton Hall and Kansas is the other one there. So, again, not as strong of thoughts here. I still could see a UConn winning this game. But another one that you got to, take stock of the home dog here in the Big East. And just know that it's going to be a tough atmosphere. So, got to check a few boxes if you're going to UConn there. But, again, not as strong as those first two. Same thing with this one here, but another one that you gotta look out for. There's a couple of these top 10 teams are probably going to go down tonight as well as like it was last night. So the fourth, fifth, final top 10 team that I think a lot of people would agree they've probably kicked above their coverage, but is still a really solid team. But is just flat out outright underdogs here on the road. A 5-point underdog, Oklahoma, number 9 team in the AP. I think top 20 in KenPom as well. So not, it's not like a situation where they've kicked that far out of their coverage, but they have kicked above their coverage, obviously. But this is obviously one that, from what I've seen, is kind of the public is all over. Top 10 team is 5-point underdogs. The big money people are all over TCU at home here. TCU, a tough team. This one is one where this is a mind games game. TCU is coming off a loss at Kansas. They gave them a really good run for their money. Nevada is one of their other losses. So still don't know enough about TCU, honestly. And I was kind of expecting Oklahoma to have one of these type of lines where they're just flat out underdogs on the road here in the Big 12, coming off of that win against Iowa State, who obviously just beat Houston. So I'll say I don't want to say Oklahoma gets the win because this is obviously a stench. but almost so stinky that it might be so stinky that it's the opposite, in my opinion here. So I'm going to back off of it. I'm not going to touch it. I don't think you should cannonball into the deep end on Oklahoma by any means there, but pump the brakes. This one could be a goofy one here with everything. Obviously, the number 1 and 2 teams going down, and the other top 10 teams that are also kind of on upset watch here tonight. So I'm going to back off on that one. I'll say Oklahoma defies the stench here and takes care of business, but probably a close game there. Marquette at home against Butler. Don't have too strong of thoughts there. Wisconsin and Ohio State. Let's just go. I'm going to go to the Big Ten here. There's 2 Big Ten games. Both of them are good. Wisconsin and Ohio State, obviously a bigger game. Northwestern Penn State is the first one. Wisconsin and Ohio State. Wisconsin, another number 15 team in the country. They are somewhat similar in KenPom, I want to say. Ohio State, another top 30 team in KenPom as well. I guess it depends on where you're looking. I see 2.5, maybe even 2.5. Okay, I think that 3.5 was wrong and inaccurate there. So 2.5 for Ohio State at home here. 2 teams that obviously we know Wisconsin's MO of solid defense. This is a solid, efficient offense so far this year, but they play slow pace. Ohio State is okay with playing at that pace. They are coming off a loss at Indiana. Not their best showing there offensively. However, I think they could bounce back. They were 1-point road favorites there at Indiana there, but Wisconsin, haven't seen them. Certainly haven't seen them in the Big Ten, I believe. Their 3 losses, obviously, a couple of early struggles. It was, I want to say neutral. No, actually, it was a home game against Tennessee they lost. Either neutral or on the road at Providence, and it was an ugly showing. And then they're only, again, another one, I apologize. A nice showing at MSU, and then a ugly showing at or on a neutral site against Arizona. So we have seen this team have some nice looks and neutral site or on the road. But this is an Ohio State team that is nowhere near what they were last year. A team that was just on the cusp of having so many close games that they couldn't figure out. This is a team that is winning a lot of close games, a lot of not close games. They're taking care of business. This is a much more experienced and much more complete team here. I do think Ohio State takes care of business here at home tonight, and I do think they win this game. I think they bring Wisconsin down to earth a little bit. Where I said this is the MO of the Wisconsin for me at the beginning of the season was this is a huge year for them. They have gotten off to a better start than I could have imagined. Not saying they're kicking above the coverage, so there's a really, really solid team. But Ohio State is also a team that deserves some respect. I mean, 11-3, 12-3. Wisconsin has one more good win, that win against Marquette. Otherwise, these teams would almost have very, very almost similar resumes here. Wisconsin just had a tougher strength of schedule. Ohio State's 3 losses are nothing to really sneeze at. Texas A&M is really solid. They did beat Alabama, a really solid Alabama team. And then a loss on the road at Penn State, obviously not their best showing there. And then a loss on the road at Indiana. So far, we've seen some struggles on the road in the Big Ten for Ohio State. Not so much at home. I do think they take care of business here against Wisconsin and give Wisconsin a little setback here. I think we see Ohio State in the top 25 after this week. Before I say that, want to say they play. No, they don't play until Monday against Michigan, actually. So not looking ahead to that game. That's after the weekend. So, yes, I will. I wanted to make sure I didn't eat my words before I said they're going to be a top 25 team. Make sure they're not playing another juggernaut or something this weekend. But Ohio State is where I'm going tonight. The other one that I'm kind of leaning towards the home dog in this one, the home team in this one, Northwestern. Short road favorite here at Penn State. Penn State better than what their record says, but still not fantastic. Northwestern is just a little wishy-washy and all over the place. Not great showing so far on the road in the Big Ten. Got smoked by an Illinois team without Terrence Shannon. Bounced back with an incredible win at home against Michigan State. So now they're on the road again at Penn State. Penn State has taken care of business a couple times here at home. That Ohio State game just took care of Michigan there. So I want to lean towards Penn State. Not as strong of thoughts on this one. Not going to put my money anywhere near this one because Northwestern is a little Jekyll and Hyde, as well as Penn State. But Penn State is taking care of business at home. I'll give them kind of a nice put 2 in a row here at home to get themselves kind of salvage their season a little bit. They're 8-7, so it's obviously ugly there. So not as strong of thoughts, but I will lean towards Penn State there on that one. But love Ohio State tonight at home against Wisconsin. So that is where I'm going with the college basketball tonight, my friends. Hopping on over for a few games here in the NBA. First one up. Please, just don't bet on this game. I know the Pistons are horrific. They're 3-34. They won that one game, and they've been losing ever since. The Spurs are also horrific. They're 5-30. They are a 3.5-point favorite. This is what you might think is your one chance to fade the Pistons on a short number because Kate Cunningham is gone, and everyone knows how bad this team is. I'm not saying the Pistons aren't going to lose by 20. I'm not saying they're going to win by 20. I'm not saying it. Just don't bet on this game. Just stay away from this game. You don't. Gun to my head, I think the Pistons find a way without Kate Cunningham and with everything not making sense and everyone all over anyone who is betting on this game all over the Spurs, that the Pistons find a way to win here at home. Gun to my head, but I don't have a gun to my head, and neither do you. So just don't bet on this damn game, man. Opening number was 2. If you're betting on the Spurs, you're missing a better number, by the way, on top of that. So just leave this one on the table, man. It's going to be a disgusting game. You don't want to watch it, so please just leave your money alone with this game. Could the Spurs win by 50? Sure they could. They could also lose because they're also a 5-30 team. The same reason they've lost all these games could be the same reason why they lose tonight, despite the fact that they're playing a team that somehow is worse than them. Please just don't bet on this game. For my sake, please don't bet on this game and your sake. All right, that is all I got with that one. One that I actually, a time where I do kind of feel strongly about my Bulls here tonight. 3.5, 4-point favorites here at home against the Houston Rockets. 18-17 Rockets. The one thing that I would have liked to see this one a little higher is that the Rockets better on the spread. They're close to 500 on the spread, but 3-11 straight up on the road. And this Bulls team, obviously, Zach LaVine is, I think he's back out of the lineup here again tonight. He was in a couple days ago. I don't see him projected there tonight, but obviously when he went down, the Bulls started playing a lot better. Going back to December, Bulls have not, obviously the Houston Rockets are above 500 team, but Bulls' strength of schedule in December and up to this date here in January has to be one of the tougher strength of schedules. And I'm not saying that to pump up my Bulls. I'm just saying it kind of illustrates how well they've been playing because I don't know what the record is since December. It's not gaudy numbers, but I think they're 3-4-0 against anyone under 500. And they're above 500, I want to say, against the rest of their schedule, which has been a large part some of the best teams in the league. So suffice to say, if you're throwing them a team that's around 500 at home here, I think the Bulls stand a really good chance of continuing to play well, continuing to obviously put the first month and a half of the season in their rear view, and with the 3.5, 4-point spread, it's against a team that is solid. But honestly, a little not quite as solid as some of the teams they have been facing. I think this is a fair number. I think this is a fine number to back the Bulls. If I was interested in the Rockets, I think it would have been closer in the 2.5, 2-point dogs swing as opposed to what we're seeing here. Could the Rockets give them a run for their money? Absolutely. They're a solid team. But this one felt respectful to this Bulls team here tonight at home. So I'm going to lean towards my Bulls at home tonight in Chicago. Let's see. Another one that by first glance seemed fishy, but I have to remember I don't believe there is any Joel Embiid in the building for the Sixers tonight. There's also questionable DeJounte Murray, I want to say, but 14-21 Hawks as 1.5-point dogs at home against Philly. Again, tough to call with Embiid. This Hawks team, obviously 14-21, as as nice as Trae Young's stats are and whatnot. This is a team that just cannot defend anything here. So it's a tough one to call. Obviously, a Sixers team that's playing much better. Even without Embiid, you would think maybe it's an easy time to back them, but just pump the brakes on that one. Total is pretty high there. Let's see. There was another one I was interested. ABC game, Pelicans and Warriors. Warriors, 2-point dogs at home here on ABC. Seems a little, I don't want to say fishy because obviously everyone knows how mediocre to bad this Warriors teams are. So if you're seeing, maybe it kind of depends on what the public perception is here. Maybe everyone's so far out on the Warriors that this is a Warriors number, and we should be backing the Warriors. Obviously, pump the brakes because you're going to have a large contingency of people who haven't really been paying attention to the NBA seeing the Warriors at home hammering the Warriors tonight. So I'm going to stay away from this one. I've had a lot of love for this Pelicans team. Think they're really solid when they're healthy. Would love to see this one a little higher than 2, but at the same time, ABC game a little wonky there, so I'll stay away from it. There was one total. Where did this total go? I think it's Sacramento and Charlotte was one that 230.5 doesn't not as high as it normally would be. However, the one concerning point is that these two teams did play about a week ago to a 233.5 total, and it finished at 215. So now we're still back up at 230. But the Kings typically live a little bit higher than this. The Hornets had been now with their depleted roster a little bit here, not so much the same. So I want to say I'm going to lean again towards the under on this one with how high Sacramento typically plays, but it's another one that's a little weird there. And even Sacramento -8 on the road in Charlotte, where Charlotte team that you've been seeing a lot of double-digit dog spots. A little concerning. I think I said the other day that the Bulls and Hornets was concerning 6.5 point spread for the Bulls, and it was concerning. They go to overtime, the Bulls win by 7, so I apologize to anyone who had the dog in that one, but obviously the Hornets took it to overtime and gave the Bulls a good run for their money. Just kind of the wheels fell off there in overtime. So maybe another one where I'm interested in the Hornets. I had +8, as ugly as that sounds there, but I would at least buyer beware on the Kings tonight, I guess is the better point to make there. So that is about it for what I had there. The Clippers in action at home. Kawhi just gets a big extension. That has obviously been a 10-point spread here at home against the Raptors. Seems like a statement. You got a second night of a back-to-back for the Raptors, who played against the Lakers last night, and obviously everyone knows, or maybe not everyone knows, but a lot of people saw the blow-up of the Raptors coach talking about the officiating there. A tough spot for the Raptors, but I feel like 10 points is a bit too much, but I'm not diving into the deep end here with the Raptors here tonight. So maybe pump the brakes on the Clippers, I guess is all I'm trying to say there, although it does feel like a statement. But I digress. That is about it for what I've got here today, my friends. Thank you all for stopping by. Plan on being back with Jeff tomorrow, probably talking a lot of college basketball, NBA, and I assume a lot of NFL talk in general. But thank you all for stopping by. Obviously, a good start with the big news out of college football world. Aside from that, getting geared up for tonight's college basketball and NBA slate. I'm excited for the college basketball slate, especially. Gonna have a couple dogs on the card here. Ohio State, and I think UCF is definitely a couple that I'm going with. Ohio State, obviously not dogs, but those are the couple that I'm probably going to be playing here tonight. UCF and Ohio State in college basketball ranks, my friends. So, without further ado, I said it already. Thank you all for stopping by. Good luck with anything you got going on tomorrow. Definitely make sure you stop by tomorrow, same time, for a show with, I believe, Jeff Dawson and I. I don't know what else he's got going on tomorrow, but I do know he's got some shows going on, so obviously stay tuned for that. But without further ado, thank you all for having some fun with me today, and best of luck on anything you got going on tonight in the basketball world.